I am a teacher and I am a parent, and I believe very strongly that in some way or another, all of us are teachers and all of us are parents. I would like you to close your eyes. Visualize the first time you looked into the eyes of a little baby or a small child. See those eyes looking back up at you with trust and with innocence. How do you feel? Joyful, full of wonder, perhaps some responsibility. I'd like you to open your eyes now, but keep the feeling with you. My little Irish granny, Granny Brennan, she came up to here. When she was asked about pregnancy and childbirth, she said, "Pregnancy, childbirth, darling, 9 months of seasickness with shipwreck at the end." This coming from a woman who by that stage was already the mother of 10 adult children and 46 grandchildren. You see, Granny Brennan's passion was for raising and for inspiring children. I'd like you to think back to when you first discovered your passion for learning something yourselves. It could have been in maths, it could have been in sport, maybe in music, maybe even going up the next level on the PlayStation. I don't mind, but just remember that fantastic feeling when you just got it. It felt amazing. My passion is for words. Words and learning languages. Why? Because they make those communications so easy. The contacts between us, we can step over the international boundaries. We can appreciate the beauty in the world in so many different ways. And so when it was that when I came to choose my profession, I decided that I would dedicate my life to enabling children to communicate with one another. And that's how I became a teacher of French and of English. So far, so good. Cut forward 4 years to the Midlands in England, where I had gone for a new job. Tough school, very tough kids. But do you know what? I wasn't at all frightened. In fact, I was really enthusiastic because I thought, do you know what? I'm going to be able to give these students the keys to a brand new culture and a brand new world. Bonjour la classe. Today we're going to be studying verbs. Tell me something. Have you ever seen 35 14-year-olds' jaws drop at the same time? Miss, what's a verb? You don't know what a verb is? No, miss, what's a verb? All right, we'll have a quick verb lesson. Here we go. I am waiting at the bus stop. Now I'm going to leave out a word. You waiting at the bus stop. What's the missing word? Miss, it's am. Am. You am waiting at the bus stop. Yes, miss. Okay. Let's try another example. We waiting at the bus stop. Miss, it's am. We waiting at the bus stop. Okay. And in that minute, it hit me that in that part of England, the verb to be is regular. Well, who was I to challenge this with my own cultural imperialism? Who was I to say, hey, guess what? The verb to be is actually irregular. Actually, I was pretty disappointed because I realized then that I was going to have to work an awful lot harder to give them the keys to this new beautiful culture of France. The keys. The keys. I'd locked my own keys in my car, my little white Volkswagen Beetle down in the car park that morning when I slammed the door. Miss, what's wrong? I've locked my keys in the car. Oh, miss, don't you worry about that. Come on, let's go down the car park now and open them. Beg your pardon. 2 minutes later, I found myself in the car park with the entire class, surrounding the car, from which, magically, the keys appeared, and not a scratch. Not a scratch on the car. This was a card that was sent to me by one of them shortly afterwards. Okay. Yeah. So from that, I realized, of course, that we teach and we learn from one another. And that was a moment of epiphany, because I realized then it wasn't about the two pronouns I and they anymore. No. It was about we. Do you know, the word parent comes from the Latin word parere, which means not just to give birth, but also to bring forth. So I guess if we bring forth confidence in somebody to express themselves, then in some way or another, we are their parent. The word discipline comes from the Latin word discere, meaning to learn, and it doesn't mean necessarily with punishment. So once again, if we empower somebody to understand that working at those hard skills of self-discipline, self-learning, are in fact just a way of bringing forward the understanding that there is really joy in autonomous learning. We are their teacher. The bottom line is this: I really believe that you do not have to have a biological child to be a parent. And in the same way, I really believe that you do not have to have a teaching certificate to be a teacher. Well now, one thing that life has taught me is this: the best lessons come from the most spectacular failures. How many of you have raced across the country to catch the ferry just in time to see it leaving from the port? It happened to me. Only problem was I happened to be leading a school trip of 60 17-year-olds. Now, trying in the bottom of a ship, rocking and bucketing across the North Sea, to keep these exuberant boys and girls, age 17, 60 of them, still in the space, trying to get them to sleep on those iron bunks stacked 3 on top of each other, which are normally reserved for handcuffed football hooligans, I can tell you, teaches you the skills of patience and of resilience. Or tell me this: have you ever moved house and forgot to pack the baby? Well, I didn't really forget to pack him. I mean, he was actually, at 6 weeks old, in his car seat. It's just, I forgot to put the car seat into the car, and driving down the road, turning right and then left after that, I was greeted with a chorus from the back seat, from the 5-year-old, the 7-year-old and the 9-year-old: "Mommy, why have you left the baby behind? What have you done with him?" True story. Let me tell you, that took resourcefulness, innovative thinking, and an awful lot of persuasive words. I really, really believe that in teaching, we use words to spark the contacts, to spark the inspiration, and to spark that commitment to learning ourselves. Do you know what? I think that education and teaching gives us a ringside seat at an exquisite place, regardless of location, where we can nurture the child within the adult. I'm so sorry, we can nurture the adult within the child and at the same time have a glimpse of the child within the adult. After 35 years of full-time teaching, I can wholeheartedly say that it's so worthwhile not to follow the job or the vocation, but the life choice of being a teacher. For the payment is in the parenting, the bringing forth of the confidence in somebody so they can be a self-disciplined, creative and compassionate citizen that our troubled world needs so much. Well, you might be saying, yeah, that's fine, that's all well and good, but how about the salary? How about the hard work? Yeah, okay, hard work it is, but there isn't a single person here who doesn't do hard work. We just do it. It's hard work. And as for the salary, well, many years ago, I decided that I would count my salary as a reward for weekends and for the holidays. You see, being mindful of those many moments in the class and celebrating those moments in the class, both inside the class and outside the class, of joy, of hope, of triumph over failure, was and still is recompense enough for the work of teaching. Let me tell you, moments like observing our students making a real difference for the better in the lives of young refugees who have come here to live in Düsseldorf. Or moments like 5 o'clock last Sunday morning when I received an email from one of our former students from the other side of the world. She had gone to Santiago in Chile, and she was in the house of Pablo Neruda, the wonderful poet, whose poems we had studied and had come to love in class. One of my colleagues says that the best teachers are those who don't only recognize what it is to be a parent, but actually become a parent in their class. My husband was an exceptional teacher, one of those whose classes his students remember long after they've graduated from the school. He's known and loved around the world. In January 2016, cradled in my arms, having battled very bravely against Parkinson's disease for 10 years and Lewy body dementia for a further 5 years, he looked up at me so gently. And then he closed his eyes for the last time. I was bereft, but the letters and the emails from so many of his students and mine brought him back to me. Such compassion, such memories, such love. He's still here. Teaching brought me through the hardest moments of my life. Teaching brought life back to me. I am constantly inspired by the new teachers, those people who choose to become teachers these days. Their tenacity, their application, their vision. One of my daughters is training to become a German and French teacher. She shares with me her trials and tribulations, but fortunately, she also shares her triumphs. Here's a thank you letter she got the other day from one of her students. After all, who wouldn't want to be as epically amazing as a unicorn? I'd like you to go back now to that first vision that you had. You were looking into the eyes of the little one, the baby, the young child, or maybe even a new student. Of course, we always experience a huge whirlwind of emotions, but in the middle of all of those emotions, there's a connection. We are invited to bring out the goodness in each other. Shortly before I gave birth to my second baby, I had the biggest crisis of confidence. Mom, I love my first one so much. I love him 100%. How can I possibly ever love a second baby as much? Don't worry, said my mum. Think of the words that Granny Brennan said. Ah, sure. With each child, your heart grows. It's a wonderful thing. I would like to individually thank each of the 4,375 students whose lives have touched mine, their amazing parents, the inspirational teachers around the world who still continue to make me want to become a better teacher. I'd like to thank my own parents and my precious 4 children for giving me the opportunity to parent, to teach, and to learn. I am a parent. I am a teacher. I strongly believe that we are all parents. We are all teachers. So, be that teacher. Be that parent. After all, with each child, your heart will grow.